Greetings and salutations and welcome to my review of 1974's Dead of Night, aka Death Dream. Before I get into the review, here are my ratings for the movie. The story gets 1.25 out of 2. The direction a 1.25. The pacing receives a 1.25. While the acting gets 1.25. And my enjoyment level earns a 1.5 out of 2. This brings the total for Dead of Night to 6.5 out of 10. What a wonderful surprise this movie turned out to be. It's a basic story, filmed in an average style, with above par acting. But it's so enjoyable. Dead of Night is one of those films that has that particular indeterminable something, which you can't put your finger on, or name. I think it's the subtlety that oozes throughout the picture. Charles, Christine, and Kathy Brooks are having dinner when the fateful knock comes at their door. It's the news they've been dreading. Their son and brother, Andy, has been killed in action in Vietnam. Charles and his daughter Kathy break down in grief while Christine fights to believe her son is still alive. That night, Charles and Christine awake to strange noises. Upon their nervous search of the property, they find Andy has returned and is waiting in the shadows. Everybody's delighted to welcome the returning hero. However, as the days pass, it becomes evident that all is not right with Andy. Alan Ormsby uses Andy's unfamiliar behavior to create the eerie atmosphere. Brilliantly added to this are the perfect characterizations of the Brooks family. I know families like the Brooks. A strong father type. A mother who doesn't argue and stands by her family until they do wrong. And a sister who loves her parents and little brother, but who is realizing her own decisions are becoming more important. These relationships keep you interested. You relate to them and become concerned in their lives. Ormsby drives in a nice deep wedge when Charles realizes Andy isn't as good a boy as when he went to war. However, Christine is still trying to hide the truth from herself. These two opposite positions bring them to near all-out war. And I know families like this too. Bob Clark does an okay directorial job on the story. For the most part, he keeps it average. Though, he does complement the story perfectly with his shots. For example, when the lorry driver pulls in for a coffee, he informs the waitress that his hitchhiker is a strange one. At this point, Clark gives us a shot out of the pit stop's window at the cab of the lorry. We see a silhouette of a person, who is just a shadow in the darkness, sat high and staring unfalteringly forward. There's nothing iconic in the composition, and it's not a great shot, but it still makes your skin crawl. Most of the creepiness comes from imagery like this. The iconic and memorable footage comes when Andy dons his sunglasses. This guy is creepy at best, but in these black specs he's freaky to the maximum. Andy's weirdness comes from his character's resistance to talk and engage with others. Richard Backus was ideal for this role. As we progress through the story, Backus builds on Andy's traits. At first it's an unnerving slow smile. This builds to an unnerving slow smile with a growing deadness in his eyes. Then the madness starts to build within his stares, and his eyes hemorrhage. The thing I loved most about this was the slow evolving of Andy. When he first returns home, he's not evil. The wickedness comes on in slow waves. John Marley, who is the A-lister in this film, does a superb job of bringing Charles to life. The character fits him like a glove, and he is highly realistic in his portrayal. I felt a tad sorry for Anya Ormsby, who played Kathy, because in one scene Charles shoves his daughter away. And he really does shove her away. Lynn Carlin is great as Christine. Not only does she have one character to portray, but Christine's persona gets splintered and ripped apart, and Carlin handles it superbly. Though I will state that if you don't like high-pitched screaming and wailing women, then be warned, there are a couple of scenes where Christine and Kathy get rowdy. Get the earplugs. Why does everybody in the horror genre think women act like this? It's the only unrealistic thing about the film. My mother would slap both of them for behaving so foolishly. I've never known a woman act in such a manner when stressed or anxious. I detest this stereotype. Dead of Night is a definite watch for all the horror fans and newbies to the genre. It's not a gorefest though, so all you gorehounds should stay away. Though I do have to say there's a couple of quick shots of Andy's hands when they're starting to rot and they are great. The FX people even added maggots to the wound. Awesome. The film is one for the Friday night fright fest. A great movie to grab a brew and put your feet up to watch. Take care and stay well.